What if your own heartbeat determined your fate in a horror game? Welcome to the space between, the horror game where your real life heartbeat shapes the nightmares you face. How does this work exactly? Well, here I am wearing our custom Arduino device, which is getting my heart rate data and sending signals to Unity. And based on my heart rate, the big scary alien completely changes his behavior. Now that is a freaky alien. So now that I've got you hooked into my net, let me give you some details. This project is a culmination of 5 months of work and a team of 6 for my university capstone project. The game we are creating is a survival horror experience where we use an Arduino device to track your heartbeat in real time. So as your heart races, the game escalates its terror. Enemies will become faster, more aggressive, or more cunning. We really wanted to take a risk and try something different, including the real heartbeat stuff and putting it into our game, which nobody has really ever done before. Okay, so somebody's done this before, but that's fine. That's why it's important to research. So without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this game and the experience we are cultivating. The game mechanics, design, concept art, sound, and all of that beautiful jazz. Starting with the core gameplay loop. Essentially, you're trapped in a haunted spaceship with tons of aliens on it. You arrive on this spaceship because you're a cool maintenance guy flying through space and you're like, ooh, there's a repair job on this spaceship. Let's make some money. You land on the ship only to find out that things are not as it seems. You move through claustrophobic corridors and you end up discovering that this freighter is an interdimensional travel ship. Yes, we also have different dimensions in this game. This game has some pretty standard first-person controls. You can walk around, you can crouch and use your flashlight to look through dark areas. While navigating the ship, you'll find locked doors that you have to use key cards to open. You'll find vents that you can climb through to find new areas, and you can use our dimension device. This dimension device can be used to travel to a new dimension, called the Dark. Essentially, you can use it to navigate between the different aliens. There's 2 different alien types, Mimics and the Thing. The Mimics are little aliens that are invisible, and the only way you can see them is glowing footprints they leave behind in the floor. We're using some very interesting AI using Boyd's algorithm to make these freaky little things flock together and form packs like animals. Oh yeah, and on top of that, why are they called Mimics? Well, that's because they can disguise as anything in the environment. You see a coffee cup or a battery or whatever, you gotta think twice about picking it up because it might just turn into a freaky alien and hit you. So other than your flashlight having a small stun mechanic where you can flashbang all the different aliens, you pretty much have no way to defend yourself. So let's say there's a pack of Mimics at a door and you need to get through. Problem is, you're probably gonna die if you try that. So that's where the Dark dimension comes in. When you go to the Dark, the Mimics will stay in the regular dimension, which is great. So you don't have to worry about them and now you can pass through this door. However, within the Dark, there looms a much greater threat. We call this threat the Thing. And the Thing, he'll chase you. That's pretty much it. Not gonna lie, we kind of copied Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 for the Thing. So he does what Mr. X does and just walk around and smashes things. Just like how you're gonna smash that subscribe button after this video, I'm just saying. We've had many problems in the development process of this game, like figuring out how to stream real-time heart rate data into our game engine, making AI work properly, but mostly things have gone well. Some of our greatest challenges involve our hardware Arduino integration. We have to figure out how to calibrate to different resting heartbeats and actually make the heartbeat matter and do something substantial in our game rather than just being a weird gimmick that nobody cares about. Also, due to our limited scope and using the heartbeat sensor, if this game isn't scary, yeah, we're kind of cooked. There's nothing really else to the game other than being scary. And check this bad boy out. This is the custom Arduino controller. It's reading my heart rate by using a sensor and sending that data straight into our game. The wiring and everything may look kind of weird and complex, but trust me, a lot of fine tuning went on behind the scenes to make this work properly. We had to consider everything from calibration to how quickly the data updates to even how it looks. We're still planning to create an enclosure to put the hardware in so it doesn't be too invasive for players having random wires all about, but we also understand that many people who play this game won't have access to this device, but we still want to have them get a similar feeling when they play the game. So we're also currently developing a simulated heartbeat so that it can simulate where your heartbeat will go up at certain events in the game. Hey, get a load of this guy. Get a load of— what does this guy think? Look at him with his middle part. What does this guy think? Bowlcut, a cool dev, is coming from the future to tell you guys that ever since I recorded this, I managed to find ways to have the heartbeat affect the environment. So let me show you that real quick. I added it so that if you're walking around and your heartbeat is really high, then that means the pipes around you will overload and pop and fill the room with smoke, which is pretty freaky. I also made it so that when you walk around, electrical fuse boxes can also overload and pop, thus creating a very dark area because the electricity is gone, of course. No more lights. I'm also thinking of adding a couple different events and making it so that in the dark dimension you can have new unique events to happen with your high heartbeat, but I can't think of any. So if anyone has any ideas, please let me know. For the art style of this game, we wanted to go with a more retro style, derivative of a PS1 old-timey style shading that you may be seeing as a trend in a lot of new indie games. While we are taking inspiration from these kind of games, we're also trying to have our unique spin on it. So one of the key aspects is we're using low-res textures on low poly model. On top of this, we're doing some post-processing and rendering the game at a lower resolution and upscaling it to your resolution to give it a more interesting pixely style appearance to the game and scene. As for the rest of our environments, enemies, and horror sequences, our talented team of artists have worked tirelessly to make concept arts, sketches, and 3D models of the highest quality to help build our aesthetic over the course of this project. We've aimed for a dark, claustrophobic setting, heavy shadows, minimal lighting, and of course a looming, constant sense of dread. We also designed a completely different color palette for the dark dimension, and of course this dimension features glowing red eyes that peek at you from the deep fog. And for once I'm doing audio design because I always forget to do that, but audio design is taking a critical role in this project. Even though we're only halfway through this project, much of our player, enemy, and environment sound effects are already complete. Everything from the metal floors echoing under your footsteps,
Warning, unknown life form detected.
the wild, animalistic calls and whistles of the mimics, the harsh sci-fi interfaces and computers,
Suit power levels restored to 100%. Automatic medical systems engaged. Medical condition has stabilized.
the whispers of the dark as it tempts you into its fog, and of course the violent and harrowing screams of the thing.
Warning, unknown life form detected. Safety immediately.
And we've also done many user testing sessions to test various things such as getting data on people's heart rates and how scared they commonly get when consuming horror media. We've also done tests on generally getting a feel for the game. People played with the mechanics, the camera movement, the level design, and told us how they felt about it. And in the future, we plan on doing much more planning, especially once the enclosure of the Arduino device is fully complete. We're going to test more of the horror elements in tune with people's heart rate to see how it works with the game and how we can balance things out to make a proper experience. In the future, we may even end up hosting a beta for the game, and we'll be able to have anybody play it and give their feedback in a public test. So stay tuned for that if you want to try this game. So now let me tell you about our future plans for this game. So our next steps will include we have to polish the gameplay, we'll have to refine the AI behaviors, rebake our nav meshes and make the AI work better. We're gonna make the game actually a lot more scary with more narrative, add a lot more polish and maybe some cool post-processing effects to make things really seal together. We also want to try to add dynamic music and sounds to spice everything up in the world. Our goal is to create the ultimate horror game to connect the player and the world, so of course the sound is going to be key. So that's where we're at after about 5 months of development. So please subscribe to stay tuned for more updates on the space between. If you want to follow along or learn more about our Arduino setup, let us know in the comments below. Please let us know any suggestions or feedback on the heartbeat and I will read those comments, I promise, because we are running out of ideas. And thank you for watching, and remember, no one can hear you scream in the space between, except for your own, maybe your own heartbeat. That sounded much better in my head.